You're listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to. From political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Politics. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney, along with my co-host, Derek J. Wilson, and our official guest for today, Representative Donna McCleod, State Rep. Donna McCleod. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So we're excited to have this interview because we know you are probably the hardest working women in politics here in Georgia and Gwinnett County. I was talking about you earlier I think it was December, when I saw you over at Brian's event, and I said she was so emotional because she was saying how hard this job is. And so I want to kind of go into your backstory. So you're an engineer, chemical engineer by trade, which I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So chemical engineer by trade. What in the world prompted you to get into politics?
It's funny. I came to the U.S. in 1998, and I actually came because my father is a welder, and we had lived in Canada first, and my father moved to the States, and he asked if we were interested in moving to the U.S. This was back in 1991. We said sure, and they started paperwork. It took 7 years to get the paperwork for us to get our green card. So I came here with my green card. I was not a citizen, of course, came with the green card. So my dad is the one that was moving, he had kind of been the leader on that stuff. And so my dad coming down to the States, and we saying we were interested. And finally the papers came through. So I had to make a decision on where I want to live. And it so happened that the Olympics happened in Georgia in 96. 96, yeah. Right. And put Georgia on my mind because I was thinking about moving to Seattle. And then, Georgia was on my mind. I came down here and I really liked it. It was clean. Anybody knows anything about the Toronto, Ontario, the metro area, it's very clean. And so that was something I was definitely looking as part of my parameter. I had gone to New York several times. A lot of my family live in New York, but I didn't like it. And it was back in the 80s. So it was definitely not a place I want to live. And then I came here. 2000, the election happened with Gore and Bush. And I was really disturbed by the way it was determined that George W. Bush was the president. So I actually in 98, 2000, so I was only here maybe a little bit over a year and a half, and I was down in Florida protesting George W. Bush's inauguration. They said they're going to kick me out of this country. So I was already getting involved. And then 2004 happened, and it was Senator Barack Obama who came up on the stage and said, it's not a blue state, it's not a red state, it's the United States of America. And I basically, Gracie, no, my grandson, hold on. Okay.
Oh, that's okay. We are, well, I have kids.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I have a granddaughter.
So it's my grandson, Grayson.
Yeah.
So I went on to Florida, came back up. 2004 happened. Senator Barack Obama came on the stage and he brought up his wife. And I said, if this man ever run for president, I was going to be there from day one. That's what I did. In 2007, when he announced, and in 2008, he opened an office down in Atlanta. And I used to drive from Gwinnett to go down there because I really believed that he would be an excellent president. And I have always been committed that I think that Black folks can lead and lead well. So I had no reservation. I went down and I remember going on to people's door and they would slam the door in the faces because they were supporting then at the time the First Lady, and I think she was Senator at the time, also former Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton, and they had believed in the Clintons and didn't really see a Black man becoming president. And it wasn't until Iowa that I think Black folks said, hey, if people in Iowa can vote for him, why not us? And it changed the trajectory for Senator Obama, and I was honored. I'm always honored that I was a part of that campaign. It was the most intense, most awesome campaign I've ever seen in my life, and grassroots organizing just got into my blood from there. So that's how I kind of got into the whole scheme of things, the grassroots organizing, and what I saw in Senator Obama's campaign. And of course, I was a national director for voter outreach, a Black woman for Obama in 2012. And so it just stayed there, and I never stopped. I opened a nonprofit business for civic engagement because people really did not understand their government. That were born in this country, and it is something that actually pushed me more, because when people said they weren't in politics, it's simply because they didn't understand that all of us are in politics. We're not politicians, but politics determine how your tax dollars are being used and who you elect on your behalf to basically help spend your money and make sure that you get a ROI, a return on investment. That is the way you should look at politics. You wouldn't put money on the stock market and not expect to get an ROI. Everybody wants a return on investment.
Yes.
Wow. So fast forward to 2016, you jumped in the race for House State Rep House 105, and because there was so much gerrymandering back then, it kind of brings us back to where we are right now. You lost that race by 222 votes. But then you came back again because you're a fighter. You don't quit. You came back again and you took it in 2018. What do you think about the atmosphere where we are right now with all the voters legislation and redrawing of the lines right now?
So let me go back about my run in 2016. Prior to that, 2015, the lines were gerrymandered. And after the 2016 election, where I lost by 222 votes, about 5 members of my team stayed together. And what we did was a thank you campaign, because 2,100 people didn't vote in that race that year. And we did a thank you campaign to the people that didn't vote. And we were literally saying, thank you. I lost because you didn't participate. And it was like reverse psychology. And believe it or not, in 2018, not only did they come out, I think 3 people actually passed away during that time. But in 2018, not only did they come out, every one of those folks, but it doubled. So I won my race by over 4,000 votes over my opponent. And in my re-election, I won by almost 8,000 votes more than my opponent. But so I just wanted to show persistent is a thing, and you got to have a plan, and you have to be intentional. And if you really care what you're doing because it's the right thing to do, then you do it with all your gut soul, and you do it because you're in service of the people that you serve. In regards to SB 202, everybody's been focusing. So let's just talk about this as a whole. African Americans in this country don't have a birthright to actually vote in. Let's make that clear, right? Right. It was a federal intervention, obviously ending slavery, and then the 15th Amendment giving a Black man, enslaved males, the right to vote. And then, of course, you got the 15th, the 19th, and the 26th Amendment, women and young people of 18 years of age. So people got to remember, this is a legislative act. So that means that legislation is opinions, and opinions can be undone. It was an amendment to the Constitution because the Constitution was not written with our hopes and our aspirations. They were written for white males who wanted to be free from Great Britain. And so we have to keep that in mind. And so these legislations are very despicable. 2013, Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act was struck down. It was the part of the Voting Rights Act that did pre-clearance. And that's the reason why that's so important, that you understand how important that section was that prior to that, states like Alabama, Georgia, basically were creating laws in their states to say how many jelly beans is in this jar, how many bubbles are on a soap bar, for you to answer those questions before you could even get registered to vote. And so when pre-clearance went, states like Georgia and Alabama decided, oh, it's time. We've got our free paper. Let's do this. So the law that was passed in the state of Georgia, and almost all of it is egregious, telling people you can't give people food and drinks in the line, cutting days of voting. But the most egregious part of it is the subversion part, in which the law sets the board of elections in the state can go to any county and basically take over that board of elections, and they could subvert the vote. They could actually recount it, dismiss other people's votes, say your vote is fraudulent, or say your vote is not good, and then recount it. Remember, Trump had called the Secretary of State Ratzenberger and basically asked him to find him 11,760 votes, I think it was, or 61 votes. Find him votes. If you have 159 counties in Georgia, you can find that. You can find those. And you can be intentional about it. So that's the urgency. That's why there is this urgency of understanding why we have to get these voting bills passed. And really, honestly, African Americans should be given a birthright. Once you are born here, a birthright to the ballot box.
All right. And so, as we know that you're very passionate about voting registration, and as we move forward into your future endeavors, could we go back and talk about how many voters have your nonprofit registered here in the state of Georgia, or just in the country, period?
Long before anybody was focusing on Gwinnett County, I was busy registering people to vote. Myself and my organizers have registered over 30,000 people. I used to stand at the Walmarts from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. almost every weekend, registering people to vote in this county, in Gwinnett County. And so for me, it's been a labor of love, because I wasn't being paid for this. I wasn't an elected official. At points, I wasn't even a citizen of this country doing all of this. So I think, our involvement, this is a republic. It means that the people have to participate in order for it to work. And that would create the representative democracy when you're voting. So that's why it is connected. The republic needs representation from its citizens. And again, it's a participatory government. So if you don't participate, you are actually letting yourself down and other people around you. I coined a phrase: knowledge is the most powerful thing you give to yourself, but the vote is the most powerful thing we give to each other. Because literally, we are all in this together, and the elected officials that you put in place use your money so all of us can coexist, and not everything has to be about a profit. And profits are good. Market-driven economy is good too. We like competition. We like to have choice. But remember, you don't want to make a profit on everything. You don't want to have every time you get on the road to drive that somebody's making a profit from it. And that's for paid roads. If you're going to, I guess, toll roads are
toll roads, right?
Yeah. So you don't want to be on a toll road everywhere you go, right? So that's why we all put this money together, so that we can make our lives easier. And that's how people should be looking at their government. But it should be making your life easier.
Yeah. So I got a question, Representative McLeod. So the State Bill 202, where are we in that fight? Because I think that a lot of people don't understand. They still don't understand the severity of what State Bill 202 represents. Where are we in that fight, and what do we need to? What, as me and us as citizens, what can we do to help you guys keep fighting and make sure that State Bill disappears?
No, SB 202 is law in the state of Georgia. And the interesting thing that people need to understand about state law and federal law. State law, I'm going to give you the perspective from slavery. So slavery in the South was a law. It was law. So holding somebody in bondage was law. And until there is a federal law to combat that state law, the state law stands. So what's been going on with the fight about the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting and Advancement Act, those two laws would be the answer to the state law being enacted. So right now, the state law in Georgia, SB 202, stands because there is no federal law, because we had two Democratic senators, along with all the Republicans, basically refusing to even talk about why they object to it. a talking filibuster. So I hope the listeners understand this is where pressure is required. I don't know where all you guys are being broadcast, but pressure on the cinnamons and the mansions to let them understand the severity. And I think they have the pressure, but I have to wonder what their motives are, to preserve the filibuster. Yet they have dismantled the filibuster several times to pass economic bills, but not to pass election voting rights bills. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, and speaking on a federal level, as we know, Rep. McLeod, you're running for Congressional District 7 seat. So tell us about that district and why you feel like you're the best candidate for that position.
So I've said this before. I know the 7th, and the 7th knows me. I have lived in the 7th for 21 years, going on 22 years. And because of my involvement in the 7th, doing the work, I've been doing the work, the voter registration, the attending Board of Elections meeting, making sure that there's Sunday voting in the 7th, making sure that early voting was extended in the 7th, making sure that the changing demographics in the 7th is being acknowledged, respected, and represented in all branches of government in the county. That's what I did. And I think it's important for people to understand we didn't get here by osmosis or magic. It was intentional, and it had to be fought for. I remember sitting down in a deposition because we took the county, Gwinnett County, to court on this issue of diversity. This was 2017, by the way. There was no persons of color, neither on the school board or the Board of Commissioners back in 2017. So in 2017, I was a plaintiff on a lawsuit that challenged the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education. On the Board of Commissioner, we had one of the board members sit down, and when she was asked by the Lawyers Committee attorney, why is it so difficult to diversify the Board of Commission? And she said, I don't understand what the problem is. She said, they have nice house and they have nice cars. What's the problem? So we were supposed to come here. People of color were supposed to come into this county, in Gwinnett County in particular, because majority of the 7th lies in Gwinnett County, and about 84,000 lies in Johns Creek. And so I'm definitely want to make sure I get to know everybody in Johns Creek. But again, to have that mentality that people of color that move into this county should just be appreciative because they have a house and a car, as if we are not dimensional. We're only singular, focused on we can only work and not think about leadership. It was discussed in a statement, but then we also sat down with two of the school board members at the time in 2017. Both of them Caucasian women that had been teaching for a long time because they were teaching from the 60s and the 70s. And when they were asked what was their opinion on segregated school, they said they had no opinion. So the attorney then said, okay, what about now, 2017? What is your opinion on segregated schools? They said they still had no opinion, yet they sat on a school board where 8 out of the 10 students in our school board system are children of color.
Wow. That statement kind of reminds me of the statement that Mitch McConnell made this week. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When she said that, I said, "Ooh, that sounds like Mitch McConnell."
That's not a slip tongue. It's not.
And I heard it live, and I had that WTF moment because I thought maybe I heard it wrong. Because I didn't know there was a difference between African Americans and Americans. I thought we were all Americans.
Apparently there is, to Mitch, because that is the reason why. That's why I said, is there other ulterior motives for the rejection of the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting and Advancement Act? And again, that's not the first time he said something egregious. He's known to do it, and if it's not in your heart, you don't say it. That's just the way we are humans. If it's not in your heart, you just don't say it. You don't say it. But it was in his heart, and it's the way he feels, that we're still second class. And he's probably right in some ways, because if we're not having the birthright to vote in, then we have a problem in this country.
I feel like Joe Manchin was kind of like a sheep in wolf's clothing, because he got the Democratic vote and won the election, and now it seems like he's turning his back on the party and the people, and so it's just sad. I mean,
I think
2022.
Joe Manchin, some of Joe Manchin makes sense, but some don't. You're either a part of a party and the policies that they present, or you're not. But I understand that he's elected in a state where 80% of those voters voted for Donald Trump. So he is in a bit of a bind. But like you said, there were Democrats that voted for him because they believed that at the core that he believed in the Democratic policies, right? A party is about the policies they stand on. It's not an entity. Because prior to 1965, African Americans voted primarily for the Republican Party, yes, because it was the party of Lincoln, and because that's where they felt that they would have the most power economically to make sure they can feed and clothe and put a roof over their family's head. And when they switched party after John Kennedy,
JFK, and then LBJ.
And then LBJ. Yeah. That's where the swing happened with African Americans to the Democratic Party. And those who had the mindset of the old Democratic Party went to the Republican Party. And now it is the mentality that somehow power superiority, white superiority, money, and a dismissal of their African American citizens is the right way to go.
And so let's say today was election day and you won. What would be the top two focuses that you would like to bring to DC?
Number one, it's got to be voting. You have no other policies without it. Nothing else matters. That is why it's the one right before I was a citizen. I paid $680. And then I had to do the test. I had to study. I actually read the Constitution. And so for me, I had to earn my citizenship. And it was the one right I didn't have as a non-citizen. I could do everything else, but I could not vote. And so for me, voting is paramount, because you're not going to get anything on climate change rectified. You're not going to get anything on education. You're not going to get anything on a woman's right to choice. You're not going to get anything on, the transportation. You're not going to get anything unless you have that right to vote, to vote for a candidate that basically represents your views and your values. It is the most important right. And then the next one, there's no foundation without education. There's none, right? We have to educate our kids, and funding. Basically, public school has got to be the nucleus, because that's most place where almost all of our children learn. And our teachers are the ones that touch almost all of us in our lives. They have played a part in our lives all through our life, from our grade kindergarten teacher right up to when we go to college and university. And if you stop at high school, a teacher played a role in how you're going to see the world, how you're going to basically understand what's going on around you in a way that's structural and factual, right? There's always emotions that get involved in everything else, but education has got to be a part of one of the most important part. We have to stop the school to prison pipeline. So we need to make sure that we have universal pre-K. So we stop that school to prison pipeline. It's unacceptable that we actually prepare jails for our children. What does it say about us as a grown-ups that are responsible for shaping the future for our kids? We should be ashamed of ourselves.
We should be ashamed. Thank you, Jacques Laurent, for your comments. That's right, Donna. Let them know. Yeah, Donna gonna let them know, y'all. Y'all know she gonna let them know. That might be the slogan. Let them know. Okay. I'm just thinking out loud. So go ahead.
Oh no, you go. Well, I was just, because we brought you on here. I was telling Audra, I said, well, this interview is twofold, because you are a sitting state rep in the middle of session and, redistricting and all hoopla, but then you're also a candidate for Congress. And so we're trying to balance both legislative update as well as your campaign. Uh, but I do have, as everyone know, the news is the country is focused on this race because you have two big names in this race.
Yes.
One person from another district, and then you have the current seat holder. And so,
both of them are not in this in seventh anymore. The current one has been drawn out. And by the way, if anybody wants to support my campaign, please go to DonnaMcLeod.com. That's DonnaMcleod. Do not spell cloud. It's pronounced McLeod, but it's McLeod.com.
yes, and by the way, it's Jock. Yes, hey Jock, I know you. Yeah, Jock. But well, thank you for putting it out there. 'Cause I was gonna ask, with the redistricting and the redrawing of the lines, how does that benefit or affect you and your campaign?
So the biggest benefit for the current 7th district, the redistricted current 7th congressional district, is that Forsyth County is no longer a part of the 7th, and that is the reason why the present Congresswoman sits there now, because of Forsyth County. She made a gamble on two fronts. She expressed herself to be a moderate Democrat. And most of the constituents that I know didn't send her up there to be a moderate Democrat. We sent her up there to fight for what is needed in our district. And that is not what we sent her for. But on the other hand, on the other side of it, she also made a political gamble. She thought that they were going to draw the 7th more into Forsyth County, and they did not. They took out Forsyth and put in a little part of Johns Creek, and the majority of the district is in in Gwinnett County, which is 600,000 plus people. And so she made a gamble, and she lost. She lost that gamble, and it is important for people to understand that when you're sent to Congress on behalf of the people, that's who you serve. You serve nobody else but the people, and you certainly don't serve your only political aspiration. You have to fight on behalf of the people. If you're going there just to live there, then you're going there for the wrong reason. You're going there. You must go there to serve the people that elected you, and the only people that matter is the people that vote. Period. Because when you're running for office, you're actually doing a job interview. It just happens to have a bunch of thousands and thousands of people in it, and so you have to be able to tell people your message, and that's the biggest part of having money, is to basically spread your message. Other than that, I think the most important part is to let people know just where you stand on issues, and that if you are going to be serving them, that you keep focused on serving them. Too many people get, I guess, away from their constituents. And not only that, I will push back on the constituents myself and say, when you elect somebody, that's the first part of your job. The second part is to keep them accountable. It's actually your job too. That's part of the First Amendment right, is to make sure that you speak your voice and speak up about your government, and making sure that they're doing right by you.
Congresswoman Carolyn Bedeau sits in that space now. She sits in the space that you're running for, and so she has support from a lot of people. What is it that you think she's not doing right that makes you want to, say, you know what, I can do this better. I can help Gwinnett County. But I love Gwinnett too. Like, I love Gwinnett County. And so what is it that you think that she's not doing that you feel like you need to step in? So, you know what, I can do this. I can help us get better at this. Uh-oh. I think her camera froze.
Well,
okay, stay with us, y'all. She's coming back. We can't control technology. Technology has its own mind, so stay with us. Let's give her a minute to come back in, because this
so
is there she go. You were frozen.
Okay. I'm back.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so parties are. We spoke earlier about policies being about a party, right? It's not the name itself; it's what they stand for. The party, the Democratic Party in Congress, said they wanted to build back better, and the bipartisan infrastructure.
Yeah. Donna, you're in a bad connection area. You're going in and out.
So if you can hear us, you're gonna have to repeat it all because we can't hear
Yeah.
you, which is
Oh
crazy.
man, yeah, it was
Can
just
you?
it was
Yeah.
getting good too.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. You're going in and out.
Am I still
Yeah.
going in and out?
you
Yeah.
sound good, but your video is a little bit blurry.
Um, how's that?
You sound good, but it's trying to adjust. It's trying to
Yeah.
adjust. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's adjusting.
Okay, so we are our parties are about policies, right? Not
Right.
the name of the name of the party. It's the what the policy what the party stands for, and the party, the Democratic Party in Congress decided that they're going to move the two bills together: the Build Back Better, as well as the bipartisan infrastructure bill. That's what the Democrats decided. The current congresswoman decided that she wanted to be a part of a caucus called the moderate Democrats. By separating herself, the message got delayed as to what is important in those bills, because then the media started focusing on this caucus, this small caucus of about 9 Democrats who call themselves a moderate Democrat, and the media started saying the Democratic Party is fractured, right? Then you get off message. Our job is not to create off message. Our job is to make sure that we sell the policies, we show the people why the policies will benefit them, and that's our job. She did not do that. She failed. She failed to do that. And when she started going into this caucus, she basically created a narrative that was different from what was needed, because pre-K, pouring asphalt and concrete is no more important than universal pre-K or paid family leave. It's no more important. It's about our tax dollars, and that all our taxpayer get a return on investment. She missed that point. And she also thought that voting rights issues, or voting issues and election issues, was mainly an African American problem. Subversion is not an African American problem alone. It's about our democracy, our represented democracy.
Wow. 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 So we have a user that says, we sell the policies. It is this behalf that we the people. That is right. We the people. And that's what state rep is saying. State Representative Donna McCleod is saying. So we know why. How do you think you're gonna fare? Because now you're going up against Lucy McBath, you got them against Carolyn Bardot, but you have been in Gwinnett County for the whole time you've been here. So what do you need from the voters? What do you need from the people? What do you need when it comes to volunteering for you to help move your campaign along?
Okay, so Derek happens to be my campaign manager. Woohoo! And and so what we need is for you to go to donnamccleod.com. There is a link there too to volunteer, sign up. We're going to need a lot of volunteers. But one of the things that I'm doing is I'm not running against them. That is not what I'm doing. I'm running for the 7th congressional district to serve the people here, because I know them and they know me. I'm the one in the grocery store. I'm the one in the Jamaican restaurant. I'm the one at Jay's Caribbean. I'm the one at Carrabba's. I'm the one all over this district. I'm the one that's in Snellville, helping candidates that are running for city council to get good people on the city council. I'm the one that has tutored and mentored so many candidates when they ran, to make sure that we had candidates on the ballot, because Gwinnett County didn't change because, like I said, we wished it to. We did the work. We made sure that each race was being challenged on the ballot, because we had Republicans going unchallenged for decades. Until we changed that, it wasn't matter. Now everybody's looking at Gwinnett saying, "Oh, it's great." No, Gwinnett's great because we made it great. The people that came here and fought for it made it great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I gotta say thank you, because I've been here 8.5 years, and I am grateful that you have made it great. Thank you.
Yes. And so as we wrap up, are we getting to the wrap? We have time for
We
more
are getting
questions?
to. We got time for 2 more questions. So we got 2 more.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead, shoot.
Okay. So, well, no, I was just gonna give you the opportunity. You 2 minutes. That's a long time on airways, but just give you opportunity to, make your final. I ain't gonna say plea, but make your final statement as far as how people can
But
contact you. And
Derek, I think she said there was 2 other questions or something.
I got one. I got a question.
oh,
Derek.
okay. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
So Donna, we know where we sit right now with State Bill 202. It's a law here in Georgia. We couldn't get it done in DC. What does that mean right now for the voters? Because I'm sure that a lot of people that are watching this and that will watch it later, because it is live stream right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Roku, American One Radio. It's Twitter. It's live stream and it's recorded and we syndicate on Apple TV and Amazon Fire TV as well. What can they do? What do we need to be preparing for 2020, 2022? Because right now, if all these rules and regulations are against us, what do we need to be doing? Do we need to have certain IDs? Do we need to have, what do we need to be doing so we can still win these elections that are very important to us despite these laws that have been passed?
So, okay, first of all, know your polling location. Go to mvp.sos.ga.gov. Familiarize yourself with your districts. Make sure that you are listening out any kind of form that you can that are being presented in your community. Get involved. It is important for you to still participate in this representative democracy. We cannot be deterred because, again, we might not have the tools we need to stop SB 2 because it's already law. But I'm hoping that President Biden can also do some executive orders that could combat some of this stuff. Like I said, the most important part of the SB 202, or the most egregious part of it, is the subversion part. That is what really bothers me the most, because after everything is counted, somebody can object. And there's another part of it too, where anyone can object to your vote, can say, I just don't think Donna's vote was valid. I want to hold her vote up. And so you can have challenges to your vote as well. And so I think part of that is understanding what's inside the bill. Make sure you vote properly. Make sure you got all your information needed to vote, right? You have everything that you need. In the state of Georgia, to vote in person, you will need an ID. In fact, now the absentee ballot will require that you put your driver's license, or I think it's your social security number. Please, if you can, please use your driver's license. I prefer you to use your driver's license rather than, but folks that are older, it's not that easy because a lot of them aren't driving anymore. So you need a government issued ID. So driver's license, if you're a tribal person like Indian, you can use that. You can use your passport as well. So those are the IDs you need. Be familiar with your polling location, early voting dates and time, and get your vote in. Still the same thing that we've been pushing. Still do the same things. Read instructions to anything that you might have, especially like if you're voting absentee. Make sure you read the instruction. Complete your application before. In the state of Georgia, it's required that you fill out an application to vote, to get an absentee ballot sent to your home. So make sure you read all the instructions. Know your candidates. Do some work. I know that we're busy a lot, but it's worth it because we are managing a whole lot of money. In the state of Georgia, it's $30 billion worth of your money that we're managing. And a lot of that came this time around I think it's about 3 or 4 billion came directly from the Biden administration to the state of Georgia. So again, the Biden administration is doing what they're supposed to do. It's sad that people aren't understanding just how government works and what is actually being done and who it's being done by. And so at the end of the day, you are the government. There is no one that can take credit for your tax dollars. You pay income tax, sales tax, and sometimes you pay fees. That all contributes to the foundation of our government. You are the government. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You've got to believe you are the most important ingredient, or else you will allow other people to take you where you don't need to go.
Then I got a quick question for you. There's a user in the chat room, and they wanted to know, when State Bill 202 was passed, did you say anything about that? Did you stand up? That's it. Did you stand up for it?
Did I stand up?
They don't think you stood up for it. They say you didn't stand up. So I want you to clear the air.
Wow.
This is what happened. So we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to address that. Did you stand up? That's what they're asking.
Okay, so first of all, I went to the well and I called it the big lie. I said, we are making laws on a big lie. We're making legislation on a lie. In fact, it got picked up by CNN, MSNBC, and I was on all of those speaking out against, I've been passionate about voting. So you better believe I've not ever stood back and say it was okay. There's videos out there of me speaking about all of this. So so I don't have to just tell you. You can actually Google my name and you can find the videos. They're out there. And it's mvp.sos.ga.gov.
Oh,
by the way.
GA.gov. Okay, we're gonna correct that.
Or they can Google my voter page, Georgia's my voter page, and that should come up. And you'll have to put in your first initial, your last name, your date of birth, and the county you're registered in, and hit submit. And all of your information is going to be up there. You can even request an absentee ballot on that page. It will tell you what district. In fact, by the way, if you go on that page where you see your county commissioners and your school board district, I work with the Secretary of State to have those two information put on the page, because it was so difficult, especially for new people that came into the county, to find out where they were supposed to, what district they lived in, and all of that stuff. So I made that possible.
Okay.
So Donna,
Another question.
Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead, Derek.
another question that's online. They asked, how many bills did you have passed? Like, how many bills have you written that have actually passed?
I have had lots of bills written, but the Georgia House of Representatives made up of 180 members. Only 77 are Democrats. The majority have all the committees. The speaker determines what bills gets into committee. And unfortunately, Democrats have not been able to pass a whole. And if we do pass stuff, they take parts of our bills and put in other parts of their bills. And then they pass it, and we are not getting the credit for it. So it's when you are the minority in a legislative branch, it's very difficult to get anything through. So that's why we're asking you guys to vote and go down the ballot and vote for Democrats, so that we can get the majority. Because we've been, with all of that said and done, we have pushed back on so many bills that were basically stopped, because we were able to push back and let the public know just what was going on under the Gold Dome. You know, right now we have I've introduced a bit to reconstruct the QBE formula for funding schools. I mean, that is not controversial, but because the Republicans have been trying to sell a narrative that they're fully funded public schools, the formula was created in 1987. Gwinnett County looks nothing like that in 2022. So it is a formula that doesn't work. I also introduced a bill to remove the $127 million they have in the budget for private prison. Why is taxpayers paying for privately funded private prisons with our public funded dollars? So I have a lot of great bills. I also introduced a bill for legalizing small amounts of marijuana, and also making sure that we expunge the records of people that were put incarcerated for small amounts of marijuana. So those are the things that we're putting forward. But unfortunately, because we're not a majority, we're not getting our bills heard in committee, and we're not getting our bills heard on the floor.
The one thing I like to say about this show is that we try to educate the people that watch this show. So there are a lot of people who just want to have a problem with the candidates, right? I think you need to start to go and educate yourself. Where can people go to really educate themselves about the things that you're saying? Because I keep getting the same question in the chat. How many bills did you pass? Now, I heard you loud and clear when you said there are 77 of us and there's 180 of them. So when we put a bill on the table,
we have a total of 180 members. So we have 77. So that means that they have 113.
Okay.
Right.
You understand? So they have a majority in there's no 2/3 vote. If they get one more vote than 77, their bills pass. So if we if a bill comes to the floor and we don't like it and they like it, that means all they have to do is get 78 members to agree with them, and it passes. It's just One more vote is still the majority vote, and we don't have chairmanship jobs on the because it is Republican. They're the majority, so they control all the committees. They control the speakership, and the speaker is the one that determines if a bill gets heard and put through a committee for a hearing. And we don't get hearings, and it's not because we don't have good bills.
All right.
We have great bills. By the way, you can go to legis.ga.gov, and you can see, and you can Google my name. You can see all the bills that I've introduced and I was one of the first to introduce Election Day as a holiday in the state of Georgia.
Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. So it's legis.ga.gov.
And if people want to know more about me, please go to my website. There's about me. It's the issues that I'm running on. Again, contact me. I will be happy to let you know where I stand on anything. I'm very, very straightforward. I'm very open, and I'm very responsive. You can ask my constituents. I'm always there.
And so,
by the way, during the pandemic, educating my constituent about making sure we use facts and not theories about science, and also helping to save a couple of the businesses in my district because it was rough. It was rough. I had being on an eviction roll. We had to work really fast to get resources to them. We had an issue with the Department of Labor, who was not responsive to the people. All of this stuff fell on our legislative folks. Plate this. The last 2 years been really, really rough on legislators that care. Let me just say that.
So let me answer this question one more time, because there's a user here. They say you didn't answer the question. She said that she has not been able to get bills passed, not just her, the Democratic Party, because they are the minority, which means it's not that she's not trying to pass the bill, is that the Democratic Party is a minority. So if they are minority, which means they have no control over what gets passed, then nothing can get passed. I think people tend to take a lot of this stuff personal, and it's not personal. But here's the thing. I try to educate myself as much as possible about what's going on in our community and in the United States as a whole. And so I think for a lot of people, go find out what's important to you, and then go back to your legislators and say, this is important to me, and then see what they have to say. Because I think that's where the problem comes in. There's a lot of stuff going around social media, just a lot. It's content everywhere. Listen, you're watching this show right now in about 12 different places live. So you're getting bombarded every day with a lot of information. Go to the legislature. If you got something that's personal to you that you feel like your legislative is not handling, then talk to that person. Don't point fingers. In my opinion, I'm not pointing fingers until I know what the problem is, right? Then I'm gonna say, hey, what you doing? But if you tell me this is what you're doing and this is why it can't happen, then I have to say, okay, well, what do we need to be doing to make sure that that's not the case? How do we get that 113 down to 77 and flip it? How do we do that?
Let me get a little. You're going to a store and want something, right? And it's not there, and you approach the salesperson, and the salesperson said it wasn't ordered. It's the same thing. You can't get something that's just not there, right? We can't get our bills passed because we just don't have the majority. We have 77 members out of 180 members. Majority rules. When we take a vote, at the end of the day, whoever can get the most votes, basically their bills will go through. We will never have enough votes at 77 to get. And we have tried to work with Republicans. And by the way, some of the bills that we've introduced, some of them are for it, but refuse to break ranks if the party doesn't want them to break ranks. So we know this for a fact, because I've talked to some of my Republican colleagues, and there are things that they agree with, but because the party as a whole doesn't agree with it, they stick with the party because they can be primaried. Because when you're in the majority, you got sticks and carrots and sticks. They will take them off committees. They will primary them if they don't stay in line. One thing I will say about the Democratic Party is that we are free thinkers. We do allow people to to really put their ideas and thoughts, and because we are representing people, and every district's a little bit different. In the south of Georgia, they might be more concerned about Wi-Fi because they don't have it. While we're up here in the metro area, we can get online, other than my problem earlier with the freezing. But we take it for granted that everybody has the same access. So we're in a body where there are people representing all parts of the state with different needs, and we have to respect those needs as well.
Okay. Well, hold
Go
on.
ahead. Go
Let me
ahead.
comment directly to Miss Annette Jackson, who is commenting on our LinkedIn page. Um, so the your comment about not being able to get bills passed because failed to work with the other side. That Audrey cut me off if I'm as out of line, but that just displays the ignorance that you have when it come down to how government works. Because to say that the minority party didn't get any bills passed because they refused to work with the other side, it just doesn't make sense. The majority party in the U.S. Congress right now is the Democratic Party. Well, they can't get the Voters Rights Act passed because the Republicans are refusing to work with the Democrats. So,
Won't even do it. Won't even have a talking filibuster to at least explain why they're objecting.
right. So it takes two to tango. I mean, it's just like that old adjective where someone said, "Well, how come I haven't heard from you? How come you haven't called?" When you can pick up the phone and call as well. So to accuse the minority party of not trying to work with the other side is ridiculous. And so what this platform is not for is not, well, to even make it more specific. You said you're talking about Georgia. When Georgia House and Senate is being ran and led by the Republican Party, the governor is Republican, the whole system is majority
Yes.
Republican. Um, when and where is there an opportunity for a Democrat to put in a bill and then work with a Republican if majority of the Republicans won't even allow you to even have that conversation in the first place? So
And it's not just it's also all the constitutional officers in the state of Georgia are Republicans.
a
So
Republican.
so all policies are being that we see in the state of Georgia is being driven by Republicans.
And so, but as I was saying, this platform is what we're not going to do is we're not going to attack our guests that comes on this platform. We can all have difference of opinions, but we're not going to bombard our comment section with just continue attacking our guest who is answering the questions and providing explanation. This is not Fox News, and so we're not going to go that route. Uh, but we do thank you for your comments, and we're gonna move on from that. That's all I had to say about that because it's getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was why I said, how do people go out and learn stuff? Because I feel like a lot of times it's a lot of hearsay, and it's not a lot of people really going out and listening and learning about these things. It's like, well, this and that. Go and learn, and then come back.
Yeah, there's facts out there if you want to learn. I'm not apologizing for ensuring that I put bills forward. As far as working with Republicans, we talked to Republicans, but when it comes down to whether they are going to work with you, is based on their party. It's not individual anymore. They literally do not want to upset the leadership in the party. They will vote almost systematically with the party. And even as a legislator, I talked to plenty of Republicans, and we get along. Some of us get along, so it's got nothing to do with that. It's about what they see as the way for them to win, and that's how they basically do legislation.
Yes. And the question what you should ask is, or what you should go research is, how many of these bills that have become law that didn't have not one Democrat support because they
Yes.
they refused to speak with the Democrats. So I mean, I've seen a whole lot of reds as in no votes on the screen, and based on what Representative McLeod said, if it's 77 Democrats, I've counted just about 77 no's on several bills, and I want to say that SB 202 was definitely one of those bills that they did what they could. I mean, but if you're in a two-door coupe running against an 18-wheeler playing chicken, either the two-door coupe gonna get out the way or the 18-wheeler gonna run you over, and
Let,
that's
let,
what.
let me say something, Derek. I want to give everyone a kind of an idea. So in Gwinnett County, Democrats have the majority elected official here. So our delegation is mostly Democrats, but the state as a whole has more Republicans. We, as a delegation, we are allowed to introduce local legislation. We introduced some legislation last session for the county chair, increase their salary, and for restructuring the Board of Elections. Normally, a local bill goes on the local calendar, so you could have Bibb County, Clayton County, White County. A whole bunch of different counties could put everything on that bill, and we usually just vote the bill up or down. And normally we work together. And by the way, to the person who said that, if you look at a majority of the bills that pass that are Republican driven, Democrats have supported. If it's good bills, we've supported them probably 90% of the time. So it's not like Democrats are just trying to obstruct Republicans. We vote with them when the bills are good, and that's 90% of the time. And that she can check for herself. But at the end of the day, this particular local bill, the Republicans removed the Gwinnett part of it off that bill and put it as a general bill and have all the Republicans in the body vote our bill down. That has never happened before.
Wow.
So I just want people to get a good scope of that.
Wow. Well, ma'am, thank you so much. You have been a lot of information, and I know that there are a lot of people who have their opinions, and we respect your opinions, and we thank you for tuning in and sharing those opinions with us. And thank you, Derek, for just letting everybody know this is not a place to attack. This is a place to educate and to empower people to get out and vote.
It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay for people to have their own opinion, but they are not entitled to their own facts. And at the end of the day, I don't have a problem going toe to toe with anyone, even if they object to me, because I earned this right in this country to become a citizen of this country. And I've done everything that is required of any good citizens in this country. So I have no apology.
No apology. There you have it.
Apology.
Well, thank you again. And I want to just drop your information in for people who want to go out and support you. I know you listen, you guys, I got to give it to you guys. I swear to God, Derek and I have talked about this many times, me jumping into politics. And I said, Lord, I don't think I could do it, because I don't know if I can handle that type of stuff right there. But so I'll stay on the small business side while I help empower small businesses. That's my lane. And bring you great content, media. That's my lane. But thank you so much, Senator Representative McLeod.
This country is worth fighting for. It's the most unique of all the countries. I've born in Jamaica, grew up in Ontario, Canada, both parliamentary style government. I am very fascinated by the way this country is, and it's worth fighting for. Everyone should be willing to fight for representative democracy. It is young, it is new, and I think it's worth fighting for.
That is why we have this platform. Find your lane and fight for this country. That's what I do. This is my lane. I'm fighting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. And her information is here if you want to support her campaign. You have someone donate to your campaign while you've been on the air. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
I like that.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Like, I just donated. I just contributed to your campaign. So, that was pretty cool. That was the first time that ever happened, by the way. So
wow.
I'm excited.
Well,
I'm excited about that.
And I appreciate you both for allowing me to be on this platform. I truly enjoyed it. And even folks that were not necessarily seeing it my way, I'm okay with that, because I do that every day. That's how, if you're born and you live 50 some years on this planet, your life has not been easy. And having how should I say, opposition is okay. It's okay because I was built strong.
Bill Strong. All right. Listen, if you like this show and you think that you have something that you want to share that's going to enlighten our audience, please go to popcorntopolitics.com and fill out our guest submission form there, and we will vet you and then bring you on the show if we feel like you add value to our audience and to our communities at large. So thank you again, Representative McLeod. We really appreciate you being here. Listen, that's all we got for today, y'all. This was a good one. I kind of knew it would be. This was definitely a good episode, and thank you again. Listen, we'll be back next Sunday, same bad time, same bad place. We want to thank you for listening in. Until next time, our friends, until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You're listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to, from political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.